Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Prestige, the podcast. It's all things auctions once again. And here we are, me and Chris sat on the sofa as normal. And he's looking rather dashing today. Obviously, he's been for one of these Turkish hair transplants and he's looking the biz. How long did it take?
Couple of hours.
Couple of hours?
Yeah.
To make you look like Jason Donovan. I mean...
It's about... Yeah, I feel like Jason Donovan.
You feel Jason Donovan? Or feel like Jason Donovan? Okay, so let's just think about what we're going to talk about this week. We've got a cracking podcast for you this week. Number 17, we believe, isn't it? Something like that. We've got Lisa coming on later on. Lisa's agreed reluctantly to come onto the podcast later, so we'll be having a chat with Lisa in a little while towards the end, hopefully. And also, we're going to be talking about today's subject, which is going to be nostalgia. Basically, nostalgia and to do with auctions, some of the things that come into the auction that are no longer available or that we don't really get anymore, or maybe they've made a bit of a revival or something like that. But we all do it every week, don't we? We all reminisce. But let's not touch that yet. Let's talk about the week that was. All I can say is 3 words, 3 letters. Wow. What an auction.
It's not good for me.
But none of us see it coming.
Well,
none of us. Well, we knew it'd be good.
We knew it'd be good, but I didn't know it'd be that good.
But we didn't see some of the prices. We didn't see that many people turning up. I was blown away.
No, I was disappointed.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, from different circumstances. Yeah. Obviously, as the owners of Prestige, you know, you want people through the door. But what was really surprising last week's auction was Lisa was saying to me, although I had a particularly busy Friday, I had lots of stuff on, didn't get to spend a lot of time in the room. I was out and about doing things. I had editing for last week's podcast to do. Everything sort of built up on us through the week.
Yeah, busy day.
And then gets to Friday. Speaking to Tom, it's been quite busy, Carl. It's been quite busy here. I was sat in here doing lots of valuations. And anyway, gets to the evening time and Lisa's like sat there looking like that was enough. And I went, what's up? She went, look. And she just showed me this wedge of commission bid forms that she'd done all day. And she was taking a wedge like that home.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to need you to help me. Well, I'm not being funny. Friday nights are 2 things to me: Chinese and beer. Okay,
so you have to do some work.
We don't finish till 7, and all I want to do is get home, crack a can, get in the tub, watch a bit of YouTube, have a chinky or kebab or whatever. Not want happening. We ended up. At least we didn't have molten croquets, but we did have something out of the fridge, which was reformed chicken or something or other, which was, I don't think he's ever seen.
You didn't even get a chance to watch the podcast, did you?
No, that was the thing. Because we were sat doing all of these commission bids, there were like sheets of them. Of course, it's a lot quicker for Lisa if I read them out to her and then she fills them in on the forms. And we didn't even get to sit and see the podcast. I think I actually managed to switch the last 10 minutes on and watch that. Which is when Lisa found out she was on this week's podcast. She just sat there and she went, "No, I'm not."
She just said, "No."
I went, "Yeah, you absolutely are." So that was that, and of course we got into Saturday. Saturday morning room was so busy. The stuff.
At 9 o'clock, I thought, "Oh, I might be all right here today. I might be able to hoover up a couple of cheapies." Because at 9 o'clock, I didn't think it was that busy. But by 9:30, there was not an ounce of room, was there?
It started slow, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you're just like,
I'm going to fill the Picasso up here, and I only went back with about 6 things.
I've got to say, I mean, I did buy stuff. We'll talk about the buy-in in a bit for the challenge, but I was just like sat up there thinking, you know, we've got this kind of day. We'd had a member of staff ringing sick, so we'd had to switch things around. And it never makes life easy. It's never easy doing stuff like that because you've got to cover areas with other people that are experiencing other areas and so on. So we managed to solve that problem. But as the room started getting busy, I think if we started off with lot number 1 with them sort of resin-y type horses, which were quite decorative, and I would imagine they was quite expensive to buy, but there was like 40 quid.
Yeah, the pictures are a bit deceptive on those, because when you see the pictures you've put on, there's not much you can gauge off them, the size of them. And a lot of people at viewing, when I saw them, were saying, "Oh, I thought they were about this sort of size." They weren't, were they? They were like
they
huge, great big things.
They were good things, but then you carried on down the first set of shelves. The prices just didn't dip, did they?
No.
It just carried on, and then you hit a few bargains, a few little bits and bobs. But then every time you hit the commissions, I can't ever remember an auction that we've done at Prestige where the book got took out as often as it did.
Yeah.
And there was good bids on that book.
Yeah. I knew early on, I thought, I'm going to have to wait until the tool room. I'm going to have to just ignore all this stuff this week in the tool room. Once that's up, I'll be all right. I can hoover up there. Then I got blown away in the tool room. So I thought, I'm going to go for some furniture because everybody will have run out of money now. Got to the furniture, blown away again.
More people came in.
So it kept going and going and going.
The natural thing in auction rooms is when you get to the furniture, people disappear.
Yeah.
And actually people came, we did lose some, but some came into the room.
Yeah.
We didn't sell the van, which was disappointing. At 2.2, I thought it was still reasonable. Can say that reserve has been dropped this week to 1,500.
That's back this week.
Yeah. It's back this week, £1,500. Do you know what? That's a cheap storage box.
Yeah, it is.
It's a cheap storage box, that.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't use it as a van. So if you haven't seen that already, I will be doing videos and stuff as and when I get time. Although I've got an extremely busy day tomorrow with one thing and another. So we've still got the this week's sneak peek to do, which of course goes out tonight as we film this. And of course we're losing you, aren't we, for 2 Saturdays? Me little Oppo on top. Can I just point out, Lisa doesn't even know this yet, I've not even spoke to her about it. I've had 2 volunteers.
That's good, that.
With 2 people that have volunteered. One is Tammy's, I think it's Tammy's niece. Right. She's the young lady that comes in.
She's the one that's normally under a blanket.
Yeah, she said, if you want me to come up and help Carl for a couple of hours, but then she goes off to Caxton. I think she's in the Caxton.
Yeah.
So might take her up on that.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then Rob and Joe was saying, if you need a hand on Saturday, I don't mind coming up there and being your spotter for you. Because, I mean, the one problem I have is that my eyesight isn't as good as it should be with certain conditions I've got. And I do sometimes struggle to see them numbers.
Mine's not brilliant, but between the pair of us,
we kind of muddle through. You'll see my head sort of going like that when I'm looking at number and I'm like trying to focus. And I'm just trying to find the sweet spot.
I thought I put a massive magnifying glass up in front of the screen at the front.
Yeah, bring everyone in. Ooh, you'd be like, oh, God. Dave and Maureen.
Oh, close.
Up close, you imagine.
No.
They're a lovely couple, aren't they? Lovely people. Anyway, JP, the message I sent out last week is actually when it went out on the podcast on Friday night, and he left a message on the podcast as well saying kind words and art. So yeah, I still haven't got around to doing the email. JP, well, I will say to you, if you just I'd love you to come over so much. If you could just see what our life is like these days. Chris spends time with us, not just at the auction room, we're friends as well. And you know what mine and Lisa's life is like. Yeah. It's a little bit hectic, isn't it? With what we do, you know, and but we love every minute of it. But you know, when people like yourselves do reach out and say kind things, you know, and certainly about my parents, which is always going to be a touchy spot, you know, because I lost them when they were so young. Then you know, it's little kind words like that you know, when you're having a shit day, they're really, the ones really that turn it around. Really, you think, do you know what? And it was by chance. And I also spoke to our Jim as well. Said he would love to catch up as well. So anyway,
and I'm trialing just in case Jane doesn't like bald men.
Yes, and if you do bump into Jane,
I can keep it on.
We do need to get her on the podcast. She doesn't realise how much she's loved at Prestige Auctions in Grimsby, especially on the podcast.
It'd be funny though if you were in Tenerife next week.
Yeah, because you're in Tenerife, aren't you, with the good lady?
Yeah.
Actually, I've just thought of something which we'll bring in later on. But talking to the good lady, but at the end of the day, you're going for a week's sun, sand, sea, and sangria, isn't it?
That's it.
That's the one. And I've heard you're hiring a moped.
Yeah. Getting dropped off.
Oh my God. Tell me more.
Well, we're only taking some like little backpacks on because Ryanair are charging too much for suitcases.
Do you know what? This man, considering how much he earns on the challenge and all this, he's the tightest man in the world, bar none.
That's how you get it. Yeah, we're picking a scooter up from the airport. Somebody's dropping a scooter off for us. And we're staying in a little taverna in a village in the hills. We're not staying in the big resort.
My God. Right, so this is it, everybody, right? So biplane to Tenerife, £7.50.
Pedal one.
Staying in somebody's back room, tenner.
Breakfast included.
Good God. Yeah. Is this where they bury you in the back garden or something like that and take your €40 spending money that you took?
Oh, it's not the first time they sent a search party out to Tenerife.
Well, no, it's not. Not in recent years. So, but no, I'm sure you can have a great time and just taking a bit of time. You know,
it's the sunshine. That's all we want.
It's a bit of sunshine. It's a bit of time to just kick back, enjoy yourselves, not think about the day to day. And
no, I'll be buying something to bring back.
Yeah, you have mentioned you may be doing a little bit of filming while you're there as well.
I'll have to go and buy something.
Yeah, do that because I think I'm desperately trying to talk Lisa into obviously that other sunny place in Spain, Las Vegas.
Yeah,
that's where I want to go because we've got a 2-week shutdown coming up in April, of course. I imagine you're going to France, are you?
We booked.
You've booked it now, have you?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned you was booking it, but
yeah, we booked. We're going to do a Breton charity shop run and brocante or second-hand shop.
Who's going over?
Me and Jenny.
You and Jen?
Yeah. We thought we'd use a big pile of the funds that we've already raised.
But why not? I mean, this is the thing. So just, I don't really want to talk about the challenge yet, but just talking about the challenge quickly while you're on that subject is that there's the other thing. When you start doing a challenge like that and you start raising funds, that you can then use them funds as an asset that you've got within your business to pay to go somewhere to buy something quite legitimately.
Yeah.
As expenses.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, I've booked the ferry, but we could use some of the funds to pay for the journey.
Why wouldn't you give us all a chance to catch up?
Would it cover a bar bill?
If it's you and Jenny, it won't cover a bar bill. There's not enough money there. You'll need to be taking bottles with you. I think it's going to be duty free, isn't it?
Yeah,
1 or 2 bits. But so anyway, holidays. I mean, that's what obviously our plans have changed. We was going to the Caribbean in March, April.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and that's now been cancelled. Well, big up to TUI. Got to say this. When we first spoke to them, they was going to do this, do that. We got somebody else on the phone who was absolutely fantastic. We've switched it all over. Cost us £100 to switch it, and we switched it to a Qatar holiday later in the year to go and see Daniel and Ellie. So good on them.
One of the benefits of going with one of the big recognised crowd, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was quite good. So we are going to get a bit of a break later on in the year, but we're still shutting the auction room for 2 weeks in April. We're having the first week, obviously, when Daniel's home, and then ultimately we've got a week after that. So we may or may not do something yet. But do you know what, Chris? Even if we don't end up doing anything, to just get away from it for a couple of weeks.
Just put in 3 or 4 days back to back.
People don't see the behind the scenes of it. This is why we are so desperate to do a fly on the wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people can see the hours. Last night I got to the auction room yesterday at 7:30 in the morning. I'm not looking to people feel sorry for me. I'm just saying, giving you a day off.
It's just how the day rolls, isn't it?
7:30. I then had to shoot to Emswell. Goes to Emswell, gets back from Emswell. Stuff to do here. I had an appointment with somebody to bring some stuff in. Had to leave the auction room, shoot down, pick Lisa up, go and watch a football tournament for a couple of hours with our grandson in, and then me and Lisa came straight back to the auction room and was here till 8:30, somewhere around there last night.
Do you think anybody in business or anybody self-employed even recognises Sunday as something different.
Well, not if they want to be successful.
It's just another 24 hours, isn't it?
I mean, all days mingle into one for me these days, because, as I've always said, you find something you love, you'll never work again. Yeah. I've always maintained that. But do you know what? The bones are getting older. And sometimes you're just like...
I mean, all them pianos you shifted today.
Shut up.
all them sweets and Chesterfields and fridges, they must be taking its toll.
I mean, I did see them sort of hovering with people stood at either end of them through the auction. But no, the point I'm making is when you still put in a serious amount of hours in whatever you're doing, whether it be, I mean, moving stuff, is very difficult. I spent years on the van. I know what it's all about. I know how hard it is. But when you work in so many hours, you are ready just sometimes just to say, I don't know what, I need a break.
I think it's about 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, for me, after 6 weeks, I need to do something different from what I'm doing.
Yeah. You get bored easily, though, don't you, as well? And, you're in the same old ritual. I mean, I think you found something. I think from the stories you've told me of your past, I think you've found somewhere in your life at the minute, in what you're doing day to day, that you're actually quite enjoying.
Yeah.
And the great thing is you're in control of it.
Yeah. But that's
the big thing.
Because it's that enjoyable, because it's rewarding. You don't mess about with it. You hit it hard, don't you?
Yeah.
So for 6 weeks, I'm pretty good. And then after that, I need to sort of like stop having the internet on, stop wrapping things up, just have, even if it's just 1 or 2 days, just a complete break from that.
Just doing something different.
Because
I get that. I really do.
It's like we start here on 7 o'clock. A lot of us have already done 2 hours before we come to work, because we've been listing on Vinted, or we've been answering eBay questions, booking things in. Because you just get up, don't you, 5 o'clock, get them extra.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke to Pete yesterday. I'll not say his second name just in case, but that bloke works harder than anybody I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's and he loves it that much. It's not work.
But this is the important thing, I mean, as you know, we've got this my life story coming up that we're filming this year, which we've
got to fit that in as well.
We've got to fit that in. We want to get down to the Isle of Wight for a couple of days and do some filming down there. We've got filming to do here, and anyway, this nicely leads me on to something actually. So 1 or 2 people would have raised an eyebrow this week that we've put our very, very first video out, which is a members only video on YouTube. Okay, so obviously we're having to continuously look at ways of how we can fund what we want to do going forward. All of this stuff costs money. Everyone thinks, you just grab your phone out and all the rest of it. You see the equipment that's behind us in here. Everything has cost thousands and thousands of pounds. To make this be able to go forward and get better, we need help. We've asked for help. Not many people, nobody's come forward. So, we are going to have to pay for some help. So what we've started doing now, and this is a direct appeal, if you like, if you want to start seeing some interesting extra stuff, there will be some interesting extra members-only podcasts as well. I don't mind saying we've got 4 members at the moment that have signed up, and thank you to you 4, because you've signed up, and some of you have been members for a while without actually having any members-only content. Well, the first members-only content video has gone out today.
All right.
Now, how much does it cost to be a member? It's £3 a month. It's not much money. I've kept it at the lowest bracket pretty much that you can do.
Right.
You can charge £19.99 a month, but I said let's do it what people can afford, £2.99 a month. And what we intend to do is do at least 1 video a week, which will be members only. Now, it may be, on a lot of channels, what they do is they do members only and then keep it members only and then put it out to the actual audience. And we're not going to do that. If it's members only, it's members only.
Club.
Yeah. And there will be some members only competitions and things like that. And, we'll be doing giveaways and things. But, this isn't us begging. We need to get, I don't mind saying, we basically need to get about 1,000 people a month to be members. Sorry, not a month. Every month would be great.
Yeah.
But if we got 1,000 people
members
that was paying £3 a month, after YouTube have taken their bit off it, that would pretty much pay for a cameraman to work for us.
Yeah, and that'd be a big difference then.
And I'm not talking professional cameraman, because that won't be enough money.
Yeah.
But it will pay enough money to employ somebody that can do so many days a week doing the filming and a
Can
bit
you
of
imagine somebody
for
following us around on a Monday with a camera?
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
And this is part of the fly on the wall thing that we want to show you. That someone was just telling me, I'm not going to say the name of the TV show, but it's to do with auctions. That they've just recently been in Grimsby, doing some filming at a house in Grimsby. And the person that was telling me about it said they was basically there for 2 days filming and took about 6 or 8 items away. It's not real life, is it? It's not real life.
Oh, we know, and you know, with being on them and stuff, that it's so set up.
Yeah, I mean, because they're so stage managed, we want to show the reason we want people to join as members and get that extra content, you know, and certain things. And we'll certainly do certain giveaways and things in the auction room as well, which will be, you know, there might be certain days that, you know, if you're a member on YouTube, you come in, it's free teas and coffees that day and things like that. There's going to be all sorts we intend to do, but a lot of it is going to be members only content that we will not say, oh, after 3 weeks, we'll put it onto the general. We're not doing it. It'll be, if it's members only, it's members only. Well, I put the first members only video out today. And because you know how excited I was when I managed to find, it's over there somewhere, I'll show you in a bit, a 1978 Argos catalogue. Have you actually looked at it yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have a look after the auction?
Yeah, my God. It is just...
Because we spotted half the gear that's in the auction, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
This is the great thing. Well, the video that I've put out this morning, we're going to do sort of a few videos just from the catalogues that we found. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are in the catalogue, so we know roughly what year they was being sold, obviously, because of the date on the catalogue, how much they were, and then we're sort of comparing it to what they're worth now, and when they come in the auction. And I mean, there was one on there today that was absolutely amazing, but you'll have to watch it on there.
Get your money out.
and that way we will stand a chance if we can get up to that 1,000 people paying £3 a month. That would give us enough to turn this YouTube channel into something fantastic.
Yeah, and because this is just early stages, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just having fun at the moment, aren't we? But you know, there's so many things. My son Daniel, he constantly goes on at me. That's not right. That's not right. And I get it. I hear you, Daniel. I really do. And we're doing our best, but sometimes it's time. Time that's the problem. If you had somebody else that we could afford to pay, that was sitting there doing a bit of filming and doing the editing for you, you can spend more time.
Yeah, and you've got to see it from the beginning, haven't you? From the grassroots end, and we'll learn. I mean, I've never done anything like this before.
No,
so.
and people have mentioned it. Chris at the start, okay, yeah. It was all 2 and 3 words. 17 episodes in, and there you are. You chat away. You tell us things you've been up to, and I mean, I know I'm my own worst enemy. I can't shut up. But
never give me that impression.
It's my job. You know, my job as a auctioneer and a salesman, which is what an auctioneer is. You know, I've got to go out there. I've got to talk with confidence. I've got to know my stuff. If I didn't know my stuff, people wouldn't use us.
You've got to sound like you know what you're on about, haven't you?
Well, you've got to do your best. Nobody in this trade will ever know everything.
No.
So true.
Well, I love that on a Monday when somebody comes in and educates you about something.
Yeah.
Because they know about it. It's been in the family.
And what do you have to be? A sponge.
Yeah.
You have to listen, because that education is then passing from one brain to another.
Yeah, take it all in.
And I love it. I mean, because I love the industry so much, and I love all these things that people bring in, which we're going to be showing you some soon in this podcast.
Oh, this has been such a great week for childhood memories, hasn't it? The stuff that's coming.
The auction was fantastic last week. It's amazing this week. And it's amazing next week. I mean, the big job with all the antique and older furniture and that amazing 1960s hairdresser's chair and all the rest of it ain't going to get until next week.
Oh, I need that.
We ran out of space. You do need that.
I'm going to need that.
Yeah, because that is really
It's getting a bit hot under here, to be honest.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's not itchy yet, but it's getting a bit hot. It's really weird.
Right, do you want to take it off? If you do, I've got a way to do it. Right, ready?
Yeah.
I can do this magic thing. Ready?
Yeah.
It's fucking magic. Ghostly goings on.
Look at that. Oh, it's growing back. It's been fermenting under there.
Oh my God, mate.
What?
Where's your hair gone?
It's there, look.
Is that it at the back there?
It's in there. It's left a bit behind.
It's like the real Chris is back. Yeah. So is this the holiday haircut then?
No, I'm going to have a proper shave.
So
I'm going to get the wet shaver out and get it.
You're pretty much like me. You don't need to shave the top bit anymore.
No,
it's.
I'm going to get the Kojak bit up the back and round the sides.
It's naturally done, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, there you go. Oh my God! Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do next. So we're going to talk nostalgia now. Okay, so I had this crazy idea today. I was driving back from a quote earlier, and I thought, well, what should we talk about on the podcast today? And I don't know what it was, but I'm going to show you what I found. Right. So when I'm talking nostalgia, I want to talk about some things that just don't happen anymore, and other bits and bobs as well. But it was all about these bags. Now, not many people, especially if you're younger, will know what these bags are. But back in the day, you'd have a brown bag like that with basically string, isn't it, kind of stuff, that held it together at the bottom. When you looked on the inside, there were several layers of paper, which made a very strong bag. And your mum would be sat there, she'd say, oh, I need to get you some new shoes or whatever, and she'd get in the Grattan's catalogue or the K's catalogue or something like that, and this would have big staples in like that and a big box in it, and that would be delivered to your house by somebody like White Arrow. Do you remember White Arrow?
I do, but I'm from Barnsley and we couldn't afford to buy from catalogues.
Would you just steal it? Is that what you did? So you was trained from an early age how to shoplift?
Yeah, we never bother with the bag. They were like tatey sacks.
They are a bit like tatey sacks, to be fair, yeah, because it was all sort of the same thing. But here's a thing, right? So over the years, these disappeared because I would imagine they was quite expensive to make. Got replaced by plastic, yeah? What's more recyclable?
Well, we were way better in the day.
But if you listen to the youngsters these days, oh, this generation, they don't recycle anything. Actually, yeah, we recycled everything.
It's like, Greta, you've ruined my childhood.
How dare you?
And then there's glass milk bottles.
Glass milk bottle. I mean, there's another thing. The milkman. I mean,
electric milk cart.
The electric just gone. The thing is, I think it's got its temperature.
It's boiling.
Is it? Shall I turn it off?
Yeah.
Let me turn it off, Chris. So tell us about what you remember about milkman.
Electric milk cart. So that was environmentally friendly to start with, weren't it? And It didn't go fast enough to outrun you when you were trying to nick the Ben Shaw's bottles off the back, because you could catch it up, couldn't you, and throw them in the edge bottom.
In Barnsley, did the milkman used to deliver them really nice bottles of orange?
Oh yeah, best orange you've ever had.
Do you know what? Milkman's not really a thing anymore, is it? I know they do still do it. I know they do, but it's not sort of the electric carts anymore, is it? But somewhere, I'm sure it was up here somewhere. Was it King Edward Street, or there used to be like the milk depot, and they used to have all these little electric cars. So let's look at that, right? So the electric cart used to leave the shop in the morning, the depot, with all these bottles of milk. So it had a lot of power, yeah?
Yeah.
Off it would go. It would go, well, for instance, we was Cherrydale, Cleethorpes. So it would go all the way to Cleethorpes. It would do its full milk round, yeah? Empty everything, put the empties back on, and get back to the depot on one charge.
Mm.
Okay. Here we are, 40 odd years on, and we're talking about electric vehicles like they're all new and fantastic. Yeah. And it's a car, not pulling any load or stuff like that. 170 miles, it needs recharging again.
Yeah. But they were hard, them milkmen, because they didn't have any doors on them. They were like
In the winter, there was milk floats always used to sort of go backwards down an hill, don't they?
They were rock hard. They were.
But so there was the old milk fest. But I remember when we were kids, the catalogue deliveries used to be the parcel vans come around. I say White Arrow was one of the ones I remember. I believe White Arrow, what I say, they went out of business, but maybe they just got bought up by
Turned
somebody.
into something else, probably.
Yeah, and there were blue vans with the White Arrow on the side, and you was always like, if you was waiting for something to come from the catalogue, you'd watch it go past, and you'd like hope he's going to come back down the road and stop outside your house with your things, so your mum could pay 13p a week for it or something like that. But and I think this is what made it so interesting looking at these catalogues over the last couple of days is when you see some of that stuff, 1978, we've also got a 1985, so we're going to be doing lots of videos on these, become a member. When we're going to look at the stuff that comes into the auction these days, and how many things did we spot in that catalogue the other night that were in the auction that day?
Yeah. I was amazed at that Danish-style teak furniture, like the coffee tables and the oval coffee tables,
the Astro type tables, and then
the Moulinex chefs
and what was the other one that was in the in the 1985 catalogue was an Atari 2600, and we had one in that day, didn't we?
Yeah,
and that one made as much as it did brand new.
Yeah.
So for all them years, I mean, that's cheap rent, isn't it? Really,
some of the stuff was way higher price than what it used to be.
I mean, I think. The thing is, if you look at an old catalogue, and you look at the sort of the early days of electronics when Amstrad was starting to mass produce and everything, Amstrad did a good job of trying to drive prices down, whereas everything else was like really, really expensive. You know, I couldn't help notice, and this is in the video one little bit. You look at some of the toys of the time that were relatively cheap or seemed cheap, which are really worth a lot of money now. Tin Can Alley must have just come out, and it was being operated on a gun, which we got like a light system, and it would knock the can off. That was like nearly 30 quid or 24 quid or whatever it was. Well, you had one, but you just said you had no money.
Yeah, we are from Barnsley, so they used to train us. No. We were. You had to know how to handle a gun.
You had to learn how to shoot at an early age. So, but what else was there? What else was there back in the day?
Big Track.
And
we get them in.
What was it? So we all sat there as kids. The Big Track advert came on. Big Track. Put an apple on it, and it'll go from the kitchen to where you're sat if you just program it properly.
But then he was got like the pad at the top, weren't you? Like,
yeah. So. You're like that. I remember my dad sat there on the settee and went, "Oh, surely if you just picked it up and carried it through."
Easy.
That was Dad's way of saying you're not getting one. So I never got one, and that was that.
I didn't have a Big Track.
No, I didn't.
I wanted an Evel Knievel. Do you remember them wind-up ones? They were like a big red box, and you wind the handle up, and then you like press a button and off it went.
Did wheelies and somersaults and all sorts. Even Evel Knievel was one of the must-have toys, but again, I didn't have one.
I didn't, because my mum didn't want me having a motorbike.
No.
So I was like, can't have one of them, not having a motorbike.
Did everything to put you off?
Then I got a motorbike.
But Evel Knievel was another good thing. But when you kind of looked at the stuff, that now comes into auction rooms and places like that, and you look back at it, and nobody can help but reminisce. You listen to people at viewing on a Friday, and all they're doing is reminiscing out there. Oh, do you remember them? If you had £1 for every person that said, "Do you remember them?" It's
like that in the antique centre, though, isn't it? When you're loading your stall up, and you listen to somebody in somebody else's stall like near you.
It's just one. I think nostalgia is such a great thing. I mean, I'm doing, as you know, I do talks on different. So I've got one this week actually. I've got one on Wednesday, where I go and do talks on different things to do with the industry. And one of the things we obviously pull up on is nostalgia, because usually these talks are for older people, and the look of delight in some people's faces when you talk nostalgia, because we're all going back to a time that seemed better.
And you forget things, don't you?
Yeah.
You forget certain TV programs or certain toys completely because we see them regularly, you forget about the rarer ones.
And you do think to yourself, it's an awkward one, this one, but would the kids get the shows of yesteryear?
Well, no, Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris and Jimmy Savile. You wouldn't want them to get it, would you? Well, they would get it. Well, there was some interesting programmes on the TV back in the day. I mean, us as kids, me and you were at the same age, and when you look back at some of those ones, I mean, of course, the ones you want to say straight away is Jim will fix it and stuff like that because of what we now know.
Yeah.
But when you actually look back, Jim will fix it was amazing. It was a show that made kids' dreams come true. We now know that wasn't true. But
you imagine sitting on telly with like a massive cigar,
weighted
down with gold.
Yeah, and by some guy that used to, be a DJ and all the rest. I mean, obviously we know
running marathons and all sorts of
stuff. So you had Jim will fix it, which was a Saturday night must.
Yeah.
Forget about what we know now, but back then, that TV show was humongous, especially for the BBC. It was a huge show. But you also had, oh my God, dare I say it? You also had It's a Knockout.
Oh, Stuart Hall.
Which again was another huge show.
You used to sit down with all the family and watch It's a Knockout, didn't you?
But we never knew that. At the time, you knew there was strange people around, and that we never knew that there was TV people and that, and some instances still are.
Yeah, there was no suspicion at the time, was it?
But no, I mean, because I think what's awful, I mean, I don't really want to turn this into this conversation, but when I look back on them kind of days, it was, if you said anything like that about an adult, don't you be so cheeky. He's not like that. It was that kind of...
Yeah, you believe that.
Which is probably why so many of them got away with what they did for so long.
Yeah.
But I didn't see Rolf doing it.
I loved it when he was doing his art.
He's a clever guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's a clever guy. But anyway, so that, but there was also lots of other shows on the tellies that, people didn't end up in trouble for, which was like Crackerjack. Crackerjack was another one. It's Friday, it's 5 to 5.
Stuart Hall.
It's Crackerjack, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, is that where if you drop something?
Well, you at the end show was, of course, you'd be given all these toys and stuff, but if you got a question wrong, you got given a cabbage.
Ah, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah. And if you started dropping stuff, then that was it. It all went wrong. But it was. I think the difference between then and now. So of course, another thing, nostalgia looking, is that back then, kids program. You had 4 channels, 3 for some part, and then 4 in the early 80s.
It was a while before that came in, wasn't it?
So on a Saturday, you had Saturday morning TV, Swap Shop.
Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, Swap Shop was brilliant.
Yeah.
So Swap Shop was really good, and then of course you would go on. You might get the odd cartoon in the day, and that was pretty much it. You had your Saturday morning kids TV.
Do you remember when you used to have your Tom and Jerry?
Yeah,
that used to follow on from that.
And then at dinner time, it'd become World of Sport. It was adults telly.
Yeah.
So we didn't have this 24-hour TV.
Grandstand.
We had Grandstand on one,
yeah,
and World of Sport on the other, didn't you? ITV was World of Sport.
Yeah.
With Dickie Davis.
Yeah. Which was the one you always used to see Big Daddy on Giant Ace?
I want to say it was World of Sport, because they did wrestling on a Saturday afternoon, didn't they, sometimes? Or before, or maybe Saturday dinner, was it? I can't remember. But wrestling was a big thing. I mean, English wrestling, again, more nostalgia, because it's all American wrestling now. It's all...
Because they were real back then.
I must say, I watched 1 or 2 wrestling matches at the pier in Claythorpes turn into fistfights.
Yeah.
Where there was actually knocking 10 bells out of each other.
You'd like to think it ended like that every time.
Yeah. Used to make it a little bit more interesting. But so you had all these different TV shows, and the thing was, you got home from school on a night time, and then you had kids telly up until about 5:30, didn't you? 5:30, and you sort of used to end up with your last show of the day would be like something like rhubarb and custard. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And then there'd be the odd on school days though. There would be a 1 or 2 dinner time ones, weren't there? At the times kids would go home from school for the dinner.
Yeah,
you'd have bod. And who was that guy that used to wear the hat? And he used to change into different people. I'll tell you what, if you can remember who it is, put it in the comments for us.
Mr. Ben!
Mr. Ben! Don't bother!
I love Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben was
He was
great.
just he loved cross-dressing and all sorts of stuff, didn't
he would, yeah. He was early, what he was, wasn't
everything. He was into everything.
He'd go in that shop and he'd go in a three-piece suit and he'd come out in a safari outfit, wouldn't he, or something? Yeah. He was going to all sorts of swingers parties, I think, in the day.
Out the back door into the jungle.
Bagpuss.
Is that the one with the mice at the beginning?
Yeah, and the woodpecker that was carved into the thing. It always looked dead scary.
Yeah.
Everything was like stone, wasn't it, or a toy.
Yeah.
And then it would just come alive.
Yeah.
And who was that kid in pajamas? Andy Pandy. Blue and white.
That.
There was Andy Pandy.
Oh, I remember one. Chortle and the Wheelies.
Who?
Chortle and the Wheelies. There was some like old witch thing that lives in the shoe and stuff like that.
I don't remember that.
I love that one.
I remember the windmill one. What was that? Windy Miller. Trumpton.
Camberwick Green.
But
I like the takeoffs to do with that one now with all the new overdubs of the voices.
Oh yeah,
there's been the Rude Postman.
Yeah, there's been the Rude Postman. They are quite funny, but do you know what? I mean, again, why are we talking about this? Well, we're talking about nostalgia. One of the things about an auction room is nostalgia. You know, you're seeing it every single week. So I'm going to bring some props in, which I've managed to get out of this week's auction.
It's a good week for it this week.
So, of course.
Oh, that's epic.
Boom, boom.
That's fantastic. Straw-filled,
old model. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about nostalgia in an auction room. You know, these sort of things come up. Everyone remembers, of course, or some people remember, this is Basil Brush. And Basil Brush was, you know, another massive character back in the day.
Who used to be with Basil Brush? Who was the presenter?
I don't think anyone can remember.
Was that Isla St. Clair with him?
Well,
do you remember
Isla St. Clair? No, I don't remember Isla St. Clair. I remember it being a bloke. And Isla St. Clair was not a bloke. Isla St. Clair was gorgeous. As a kid, she was so pretty. And anyway, I hadn't heard anything of her for a long time. So anyway, let's pop Basil away and let's bring these in. Now,
that's my favourite.
Can anyone remember these two characters? So we're not going to use the names. So we want you to get down in the comments, right? And if you can tell us the name of these two characters and what show they was in, right, I'm going to give a Prestige polo shirt to the winner this week. So if you put down in the comments, we need to know the name of this one and what show they was in. It says it there on the tag.
Very current.
Hope you can't zoom in on that. Then everyone that gets it right, we'll put them in a draw. We'll draw the draw in the next week or two, probably when you get back.
Yeah.
And then we will give away a Prestige Auctions polo shirt to your size and your colour as well. We've got most of them. So there you go. Who are these two people? These were a bit of fun when we were kids. Yeah. You ever watched the... There was three other people with these. Well, there was five actually. But the three I'm thinking of was these three people called Rod, Jane and Freddie. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
I watched an adult film.
I've seen the same one.
Many years ago. Anyway, the less said about that, the better. Anyway, I also want to talk about this. This is a great one, this one. So, when we were kids, when this came out every week, you were buzzing because not only was Smash Hits a fantastic thing, it was a proper teenagers magazine, wasn't it? For boys and girls, it had all the latest stuff in there for the music and everything that was going on. But occasionally you'd get something amazing like that, a free gift on the
Still
front
got
of it.
That's amazing.
Which would be stickers. And, you look on here, Kylie and Bros talk about their new LPs. This is 1989, this one.
And a poster in the middle. What's it got?
Who's the poster? Milli Vanilli.
They were great.
Milli.
Did they get found out for not being
Were they the ones that weren't actually singers?
They were the miming ones.
What an age it was, wasn't it?
It's propaganda, this. It's not a music magazine.
But, look at that, Belinda Carlisle.
She's aged really well, hasn't she?
Yeah. She had a great voice as well.
Yeah.
And I always say this one thing, that we were so lucky to live through. It's great when you look at Bros, yeah. When you look at what the kids have got these days, and then you hear the kids listening to 1980s music.
They love it, don't they?
Because it was just so good. But also,
they're quite jealous that we went through that era, actually, aren't they?
Yeah, we were lucky. What about that?
I had one of these.
So, Grandstand, when they brought out Astra Wars, this was like cutting edge, wasn't it? Yeah. So there you had in the centre there, you had this little joystick which was spring loaded. Now that did go on quite a few of them, so you'd have to move it from side to side. You have this little spaceship, you'd go through several levels, then you'd restart, but it'd get harder. And you could select your level down there if you wanted to, press start, and this was like bringing an arcade game home. My nana bought me this one Christmas. I want to say about 1983, somewhere around there. And the same year, my dad bought me and my brother Sky Electric as our main present. I wasn't interested in Sky Electric. I just sat there all day. and my dad, in the end, actually see his ass on me and took it off me. He went, because he wanted me to get involved with the Sky Electric. I wasn't interested. I'm
going on the next level.
But, these were the things. And, we didn't have an Atari. We couldn't afford stuff like that in our family. So when Nana bought us something like that, it was something quite special. And I think my Nana, to be fair to her, which I'm not often because she did me a lot of wrongs in my life, but when I look at something like that, that would have cost her a few quid back in the day.
Did you have it with batteries or the wall charger?
Originally, we had it with batteries, but soon got a wall charger because it battered the batteries, didn't it? Yeah.
Do you remember when you used to buy them battery chargers and the little batteries that you put in were a fortune, the rechargeable ones, the D's and the double A's?
Oh no! Especially if you ever got given a Christmas present that needed D's, which were like, I mean. You haven't lived, right? You haven't lived until you had a Gatto blaster that took 12 D batteries.
And you got arms like sports.
I mean, the Gatto blaster was already 100 weight, and then you got the batteries in it. Just like that, and they lasted a day. So your next whole week's wages went on that, just so you could have it on the beach with you for the day. I was looking at some music newspapers this week, and one of them stated on it, Beatles looks like they're going to sell 2.5 million copies of Can't Buy Me Love on a 1964 newspaper this year. And when you look now, you can probably get to number one on about 20,000.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all the nostalgia you need to know, isn't it?
The interest level that was in this stuff at the right era was immense, wasn't it?
Do you know what? I mean, I sometimes feel blessed to think that we've lived through what we've lived through, some of the years.
Do you remember the record shops when you used to go in them?
Well, I mean, you had so many.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look in Grimsby alone. You had, Woolworths sold records. Rayners sold records. There was Humber Records. You had more nostalgia, Our Price.
Yeah.
Do you remember Our Price?
We've come through with the stickers on. You see the stickers.
And in Grimsby, what did we have here as well? Andy's Records on Victoria Street. Andy's Records. Let us know if you remember Andy's Records.
Who's got the record shop now? Because there is one.
So there's a great record shop run by a friend of mine on Freeman Street, Replay. Scott Scott, who runs Replay in Grimsby, I mean, I don't need to big him up too much because he knows how good he is. But I thought I knew a little bit about records, but my God, that man, if you need any expert advice on records, Scott at Replay is just another level. I mean, you know when you get talking to somebody that really knows this stuff about something, he absolutely amazes me. I'd love to do it. And we need to get him on a podcast, I think. We need to get him on a podcast, really, and give him a bit of advertising for the shop and that. But, I mean, he's been there 25 years as a record shop. He used to
build up a lot of knowledge.
He used to be down Railway Street, and now he's down here, and he's a clever guy. And I think the thing is, you know, these sort of small independent record shops, like there are still a few around, and there's some more have cropped up over the years.
There's something in Cleethorpes, isn't there? Is it Howling?
Howling Jack's on the high street. Yeah, but he's a nice guy. He's been in here once or twice, but I can't ever say I've been past there when it's open.
I've never seen it open.
No, you've never seen it open.
No.
I think, you know, I think he's probably doing himself an injustice by not opening enough. But maybe that's what he's decided to do. He does open, obviously, he must do. And I was talking to somebody the other week at the house that said he's very good at what he does, but because he'd been buying stuff off him. But no, I mean, for me, Scott is just another level. So if you do need any vinyl, and he pretty much back catalogues everything. He gets all the modern stuff in for record store days and that, but he also gets all of the old stuff in there as well. CDs.
The record shops used to be busy, didn't they?
Record shops. I mean, it was your Saturday morning out, wasn't
it?
The toy shops or the record shops. I think toy shops as you was younger, teenager, you started going into the record shops. And I got into buying 12 inches because 12 inches you got to hear more of your favourite song. You know?
I don't think the singles are that popular these days. I think
they're not, because I mean you've got a best 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes of music there.
And you've got to get up and change it.
Yeah, and of course, unless you had, again, more nostalgia, one of the fantastic little stackers that used to ruin your records, because it would get caught.
Scratch it through.
Anyway, that's a bit of nostalgia for this week. Let's have a look at the challenge before we wheel Lisa in for the podcast. So, where are we with the challenge, Chris? Talk to me.
Challenge is looking really good. Really good. Here we are.
So, do you want me to talk you through Carl and Brandon?
Yeah, go for it.
So last week was £65 plus several bits of stock. Well, this week we've got £40.
But a lot more stock.
That might not sound good to some people, but that is actually great. That's where I want it to be. The more I see that number being there, the less happy I am. I always want my money to be tied up in stock.
Yep.
So if you look at that now, we made a couple of purchases this week. We bought, I've got to say I made another mistake. In fact, I've made 2 big mistakes in the last 2 weeks. I've made a few, actually. But, the sideboard that I bought that I couldn't store anywhere, I had 3 people after it this week.
Oh.
So that's £60 down the drain because of my own stupidity. Well, no, actually, it was Lisa having a go at me getting it out of the auction room. Anyway, there's another story. Get it out. I could have put it in the container. I was lazy. So this week, what else did we buy? So I bought a foot massager at the auction this week.
How's that going?
No, not sold yet. And then also, what else did I buy? I bought, I forgot what I bought, Chris. What did I buy? Bought 3 items at the auction. Spent about 15 quid, something like that.
Yeah, I can't
remember. There wasn't a lot to buy, was there?
I can't remember what it was you bought.
Anyway, I've bought a clock this week, which needs some attention, so I'm going to get that looked at, and bought a big clock for £50. We'll wait and see how that does. But at this moment in time, it's not even up for sale yet. So bought a clock for £50. So that's going to go into the challenge.
So you've got a lot invested, haven't you?
So we've got a nice bike. We've got a big clock. We've got certain items online. Oh, can tell you that the reason that actually went up. So if you think I've spent £50 on the clock and nearly 20 quid in the auction, whatever it was, I can't remember, somewhere around there. So that's £70. So we've got £40 or so much back in, or £45 back in. because the little spinning wheel I bought last week, £3.54, sold £40. That's the way, and that's a good hit, that one.
Yeah.
And then I think we lost a little bit of money on the tobacco tamper, which paid about £8 or £9 for. We got £5 for that.
Was that on eBay?
We gambled it on eBay, and it didn't do the money.
I was unsure about that because I didn't think that the tamper.
I don't think it was right. No, I don't think it was right. I think somebody had put it together and talked somebody else into believing it was something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But there you go. Look, these things happen.
Yeah.
Again, something else learned. But the fact of the matter is, we've still got cash in the kitty, so we've still got spending power, and we've got good stock out there. The clock that we need to get sorted out.
Any biters on the bike?
Well, several watches, but no real hits yet. But I'm working on the theory it's February.
Yeah.
It's early February, late January into early February when we've had it for sale. How many people are actually looking for bikes until the spring starts?
It's going to probably be mid-March to the end of March.
So, but it's good stock to have there. Sorry, did I just touch you then? I didn't mean to hold your hand, flinched. Darling. So, Lisa and Tom, talk to me about them.
What are they on? 31.66, and apparently they've got loads and loads of stuff in stock now.
They must have made some purchases last week.
Yeah, they bought at the auction. Some crafting. They bought some more. To me,
they've spent £30 odd, £32 or so, but they've not really come up much. So they can't have sold a lot this week.
I don't think so. And it's quite. They've got a lot of stock at low item value, so it doesn't come up very fast, does it?
No.
And it takes a lot of effort to sell a lot of small stuff in a week. One thing we're short of is time, isn't it?
Yeah. And, well, let's talk about Chris and Jen then. How's your week?
Storming week.
£801.77 plus stock. What's this mean here?
We've got about £800 worth of stuff priced up. So we've got about £800 worth of stock and £801.77 in cash.
So, if we don't need to say it as we do every week, just remember, everybody, you can get involved with the challenge at any time you like. Just start with £20. Once you've got your £20 back, take it out again. And look at this. Loads of stock, £40. Loads of stock, £31.66. Loads of stock, £801. From £20 not that many weeks ago.
Just before Christmas. It is the week before Christmas.
It's awesome, really.
We picked the wrong time to start, didn't we? Because it's the hardest time of the year.
But if my little plan comes together,
you could be overtaking that one.
I could be up there very quickly.
And we're going to have a week where we're doing nothing, so I'll give you a chance.
Give you a chance to catch up. Right, okay. So, anyway, without further ado, let's bring Lisa in. Ready? Well, this is cozy, isn't it? Yeah. We've finally got you in here, Lisa, onto the podcast.
Not for long.
So, what have you been up to out there?
I've been busy.
Why do you look like a womble?
Because I'm cold.
What is this thing? Is this what I bought you for Christmas?
Yes.
I mean, it
keeps me nice and warm on a Monday.
It's quite big,
and
isn't it?
And Tuesday, yeah. I'm a big girl.
Well, you're not really a big girl, are you? You're not really a big girl.
Well, not small, am I? Don't answer that.
Sorry, Kim.
So we finally got you onto the podcast. Now, we've just been discussing how you're doing in the challenge. How do you think you're doing in the challenge?
Oh, all right. Slow and steady.
So I've got a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Last week you had £63.
We did.
And this week you've only got £31. So what did you buy?
We bought the Storyteller cassettes and books.
How much?
$24.96. $25.96.
Has it sold yet?
No.
How much got it on for?
50.
Okay, so that's not going so well.
Well, it was on for 65, but I've reduced it.
Okay, so
are you on Vinted?
Yeah.
So what else did you buy? Because that's
if
more
you're on
money.
Vinted and you see Storyteller cassettes and albums, you'll be helping a cause. Please buy them. I've reduced them by £15.
Good. So just tell me, what else did you spend? You must have spent more money than that.
No, we didn't. That was the week before last, and then this last week we spent.
We
bought a box of craft and a box of cross-stitch books that turned out that they weren't cross-stitch books at all. There was on Egyptians and
They were just angry.
Romans, and they weren't cross-stitch books at all. That means you should view before you buy and not stick your hand up willy-nilly.
So also, but I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that also by that what you're telling me there, you've not sold out either.
Not for a couple of weeks now.
Oh dear.
No, we've still got our.
It's early days, isn't it?
We've still got our Irish soccer beanie hats. We bought 9 of them.
How many sold?
None.
Okay. Well, I suppose you're just sort of letting us get a bit of a lead, aren't you? So
then we're going to batter you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, moving away from the challenge.
Yes,
so
please.
I bought cruise ships.
Yes, you did.
You did, yeah. How are you getting on with those?
Well, I've not sold any yet.
But it's only Monday.
Yeah. But there should be 20, 30 quid each.
Well, that's good.
Our money's halved.
I actually said in the aftermath that a person had bought those, and I didn't say who, and of course you've just told everyone. But it's you that bought them, and I did actually say that the person was quite happy that was going to do quite well on those.
Yeah.
And I think you could do as well. But anyway, it's taken us quite a while to get Lisa onto the podcast.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable.
The podcast sofa. And well, that's because you've got this humongous...
No, I'm comfortable in my own skin and my own clothing, but I'm not comfortable doing this.
Lisa, when you've done live from the living room
that's
in the
different.
past,
I'm in control.
you can kind of...
Yeah, I'm in control.
You've done loads of them.
I know.
You've done loads of live from
but
the
I'm
living
in
room as
control
well.
of that.
So do us a favour. Just do us a favour.
gym.
Just do us a favour, everybody. Just leave us in the comments if you'd like to see Lisa on the podcast more. Maybe Lisa could do her own podcast.
No, to be fair,
week.
when I do live from the lounge or I do a live, I'm usually hair done, my tints on, my face is done, and I'm dressed nice. Mondays are not a good day for me.
I had my hair done.
You did.
It's now on the floor. Is this your Monday look then?
Yeah.
What do you think to Mondays?
I like them now. I do like them now. Yeah, I do like Mondays now.
You're quite
now
happy
my
with the team.
Yeah, I love my team.
The team is quite good. Everyone does get on quite well on a Monday, don't they?
Mondays have changed quite a bit.
We love Mondays now, don't we?
They're quite relaxed.
They're all good, aren't they?
Yeah.
We all know our jobs. We all know our positions. We all know what we're doing, and it's just I love Mondays now.
Can you get a time lapse in from Monday morning to the end?
It is pretty mega what we do.
It would look quite good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just like a 20-second time lapse.
I think we're pretty damn good at what we do, because on a Monday morning that room's virtually empty.
I've got cramp in the leg.
Oh, I can't stretch it out for you. I'm trying to do a podcast.
Why
do you have to ruin my podcast? I was mid-drift then.
So Chris getting cramp in his leg right the way in the middle of a podcast is going to be hilarious.
I didn't want to look weird, did I? Just go pulling funny face.
You've ruined my podcast now. I don't come on very often.
Yeah, but I had to tell you, otherwise I'd be just sat here going...
You want me to stretch your leg out?
It's gone. It's going.
You sure?
It's going, yeah. Don't move.
So, but I mean, Mondays by the very nature at Prestige are a very busy day, aren't they?
Yeah.
But
can be quite a stressful day, but because we all have a laugh and we know what we're doing. Oh, they warned me they'd do this.
So,
yeah, what happened to Hook?
Why does our window suddenly look like a social services bus?
But yeah, so back to Mondays. No, they all know they all know the positions, and they all know the places. You're ruining my podcast. I'm not coming on again.
Do you like the fact that we've got some daylight in here?
It's not really daylight, is it? It's like looking at the Venetian ceiling in Las Vegas.
Well, it's not. Maybe we should talk about Las Vegas.
No, maybe we shouldn't talk about
great
Las
idea
Vegas.
that
No, I'm not going.
Second week in April.
Got to sort bank accounts out now. We can't go anywhere.
Oh, okay. All right.
You've made enough in the challenge, you could go and buy something.
Well, looking at Lisa's challenge, I mean, we can have a chippy supper.
No, you're joking at you. That won't cover that. You seen how much fish and chips is?
I know. It's not cheap anymore, is it?
No.
What we've been talking about today on the podcast is nostalgia. You remember anything that you used to have that
or wanted?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was quite interesting actually, because when we looked at those catalogues this week, you actually pointed out a couple of bits that you'd have quite liked when you was a kid, and then you found out there was only like £6.
Yeah, and I won't allow them because we couldn't afford them.
Anyway, just hold on to that a minute later, because keep talking, because we're not editing any of this out. I need to get something.
No, you've got to edit the bit.
I need to get something to show you.
There's loads to edit out.
Oh God, what do you want to talk about then, Chris?
Well, we've been on about Zippy. Oh,
Zippy and George.
Oh no, we've given the names away now. We'll have to edit that out.
Oh no, don't tell him.
That were a competition.
Bungle.
Oh, George.
Oh, George. Zippy. Did you get boom boom?
Yeah, he's been on.
Anyway, we've had this great idea. Right?
You say it, because the thought came to my head, but you say it.
Maybe you could set this on holiday as a sun lounger. What do you reckon? Do you think it's a bit big?
I no, we'll be on the... She'll not see this until we've come back off holiday. So
that's right, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we're fine, yeah.
I think it's a bit of kit, that, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
To be honest. But there you go. So it's a nice item. Well, anyway, you're going to go away and enjoy yourself for a week.
Yeah, what am I going to do next Monday?
Leave us all to it while me, Lisa, and the rest of the team...
Really guilty.
Have you seen it in there?
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling guilty.
While me, Lisa, and the rest of the team carry
I've
on.
got to cope with Dave next Monday on my own.
Do you know what an outro is? I am sorry, everybody, that the podcast has turned into mayhem. Anyway, thank you ever so much, everybody, for watching this podcast. Will you shut up?
Are you on the night nurse?
No, I'm the only one in the team that isn't.
I had it.
Oh, my God.
They're all on night nurse.
I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, listen, I'm obviously not going to shut them up. So thank you, everybody, for watching today's podcast. Episode 17, Chris is going to take himself off and get himself some sun on parts that we don't want to see. And Lisa is going to get herself back into the auction room and remember every day that she is a womble. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
Say goodbye, Lisa.
See ya.
And we'll see you all again very soon at the auction.